So I completed Inktober. Oh, I'm so excited for this sketchbook tour. So as you can see, this is my sketchbook. It has some Bailey J stickers, it has some of my stickers, a Scrawlerbox sticker. I just had a lot of fun with this sketchbook. I would say this is the most bougie sketchbook I've used for Inktober, and it did not disappoint. So here is the list. So we have day 1, backpack. With this one, I was going for a game art sort of aesthetic. I was doing a lot of game UI stuff around this time, so that's why it looks like this. And this little keychain in the center is actually inspired by the 2 things that I sell in my Etsy shop. This is my design called Geode Potion. I recently got the sticker design turned into a keyring, so of course I had to add it. I really need to get better at advertising my Etsy shop, so I thought, like, if there's something relevant in the YouTube videos, it's a chance to plug it. Inktober Day 2, Discover. So I've actually made some of the previous Inktobers into art books that I also sell on my Etsy shop, but it's a good way to actually show you the links between some of the Inktober pieces. As you can see, this image right here is actually referenced over here. This is Inktober 2021, and this is 2024. I'm the kind of artist who loves to add like little Easter eggs, link pieces together, and since this is the sketchbook tour, it's a good place to show you all of the links and the little fun facts and tidbits that you may have missed when watching the shorts on either TikTok or YouTube. Day 3, we have boots. Of course I had to draw Loki. I love Loki so much. She wears these iconic dark blue like knee-high boots, and oh I love them. I wish I could pull off these kind of boots, but I can't. My calves are too big. But I will take all the pleasure in drawing them. And here you start to see a trend of sunsets. What can I say? I love the colours in a sunset, and I love drawing a sunset. Day 4 is exotic. So this is Eliana. I said in the YouTube short that what is more exotic than a bird that doesn't exist? And this is Birdie, Eliana's pet. Now before, I didn't really know what species of bird Birdie would be, and then I thought, why not make Birdie a phoenix? Because it would kind of go with the whole Fire Kingdom aesthetic as well. It would make sense, and also an exotic bird. And I've never really drawn Birdie before. Birdie has always just been a concept. So finally having a piece that I can reference the design for Birdie is amazing. Day 5, Binoculars. Now I said in the short version of this one that I wish I'd just done the binoculars instead of like a version of Callan. However, this piece has grown on me a lot more since then. I think it's a really good character study, if nothing else. I'm also really loving the experiment of like the different colours. I don't know whether you can see, but like the splashes of yellow and pink in different areas, it really adds like a sense of dimension. I'm not sure if it came across in the short, but the binoculars do have sparkle to them. I think he also has a bit of sparkle in his eyes as well. Oh, and there's also a bit of sparkle in the feathers as well. I don't want to give myself a monster of a video to edit, but I always am like, do I mention this little fun fact, that little fun fact? Like, how much is too much? Day 6 is Trek. Now, I got a comment about this one. There's too many white lines, and looking back now, yes, I do agree. I went a little bit overboard with the highlights. I am really liking the depth and the colour range that I got with this one. I think I used my primary colour set of inks from Roller and Kalinga, as well as Indigo. With this one, I didn't necessarily have a colour palette in mind. I just basically layered some of the colours and also mixed some of the colours that I needed. I'd say mixing your own colours gives you so much more versatility with colours and really helps you learn colour theory. The sense of depth in this one is really cool. This is Loki. She's running away after her mum passes. There's also conspiracies in the kingdom going on at the same time, just there's a lot going on, so Loki just runs. This piece to me can be viewed in two separate ways. It could be she's looking back at where she came from, but also she's walking forward towards us. If you haven't seen the shorts already, or if you've come from the shorts looking for like extra details about the work, you could probably tell that I was slowly losing my mind over the course of October. The amount of words that indicated a journey just go away. Give me something different. Day 7, Passport. I actually live streamed this piece, which I'm so happy I live streamed this piece because it came out so well. I'm pretty sure I live streamed the entirety of this piece and then the line work for day 8. The stuff that I really like about this one is that it doesn't necessarily need the sparkle. Like, the sparkle is like very subtle. It's not as prominent as in other pieces, but it doesn't need it. I'm also loving the tones that I managed to get. Again, playing with all these different colours is just so fun. Throughout the years, I've always been known for my use of colour. I'm very experimental when it comes to colour as well. I just love playing around with it. It's so much fun. Again, this is kind of going for a game art sort of aesthetic like day 1 was. Day 8, Hike. So this is Kai, Loki's son, and this is Marriner, Callan's daughter. So with this one, I have to tilt it upwards because some of the ink actually makes this incredibly shiny, but it's supposed to look like this. This is what I was aiming for. So with this one, I played around with the opacity of my white opaque ink. For this one, I wanted a soft silhouette feel. And it's interesting with this piece because Loki runs away as a teenager and the same thing happens with Kai. However, it's not because anybody's died or there's like upheaval in the kingdom. It is because he's a werewolf. He is the crown prince and he is essentially scared of himself. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just feels so scared and alone. But Marriner does not let him go alone. The only bad thing about this is their parents are unaware that any of this is happening. So day 9, Sun. When I've actually done a piece in the past, I've actually done a piece in 2022 for Sun, and it's actually a tarot design that I sell as a sticker. But I didn't want to do it exactly the same. I just wanted to do a face-on version of the character. So this piece was done with the same prompt word as this one, and it is the exact same character. But you can actually see how different they are. Also, the different mediums as well. And the best part about traditional original pieces is that you can have sparkle. This is a digital print that I sell. I also sell it in the form of a sticker tarot card as well. So then we have day 10, Nomadic. I think my lights might be too powerful because it's shining on all of the black. This is Marriner again, and she has the best view. She actually lives on board a boat, and one of the reasons she runs away with Kai is because she's never had a place to call home herself. She wants somewhere to settle. And this piece actually just shows you that she lives on the sea and has the best view for a bedroom. Although looking at it now, I'm just like, when there's storms and there's like high seas, that must be terrifying. So day 11, Snacks. So I said in the short for this one that it didn't turn out the best. And that is because instead of doing Copic marker over already placed ink, I decided to do Copic marker over Copic marker for the indigo technique, and it turned out really muddy. It didn't work. But this character, his name is Oscar, and he is munching on his favourite snack, which is a raspberry pie, specifically the ones baked by his friend Sophia. Day 12, Remote. So with this one, I think that this one is really underrated. looking back, I'm like, should I have put this one in my top favourites? Because I actually really like this one. Like, it's a lot of green, but I don't usually use a lot of green in my pieces. So any piece that features green as a main colour for me is always a standout. So this is Cinderash's Territory of Prism. This is actually Eliana and Birdie's home. I think this is one of those pieces that I would have preferred to do in a different medium, say gouache, because you can see that I tried to use like the white ink a little bit like gouache in a way. So day 13, Horizon. One of, if not my favourite. I adore this piece, and so do many of you. This was one of my first few shorts after day one's backpack to actually like explode. I was so shook by how well this short did. But my favourite thing about this piece is obviously not just the sky, because like the sky turned out really good, but the water, the way the water looks. I am obsessed with the way the water looks. I think I really nailed the lighting and the way that the water looks transparent. It looks so good, and I'm so happy with it. Also, the silhouette of the ship. I usually mess up silhouettes of ships all the time. The amount of silhouettes of ships that I have scrapped in my pieces because I have absolutely trashed them, too many to count. But this one actually turned out so good. And then you have the mermaid. Like, originally, I wasn't going to put the mermaid in the piece, but I was thinking to myself, I need a foreground element. Because when creating effective storytelling illustrations, you want to play by the rule of thirds. So you want a foreground, a midground, and a background. So you can have that sense of depth, that the piece just feels bigger than it actually is. And I think the inclusion of the mermaid just really nailed it. Another thing about this piece that I love is like this piece links to so many pieces in my previous Inktober works. It's insane. So from Inktober 2018, it kind of links with this one, with the view of the ship. And this is actually the same character. Her name's Pearl. This is another piece that links them together. You can see the little whale tail at the back. In this piece right here, you can see like the little whale tail as like a reference to those old pieces. This is 2019's book. You could also say that this anchor is referenced later on in Inktober this year as well. Pearl again. But yes, definitely lots of mermaid and pirate ship type of drawings. Then we have day 14, Rome. So this one is actually linked to a few Inktober pieces in the past as well. This one is mainly linked with a piece from 2018. So basically, it's essentially the same concept, just from a different angle. Yes, she has a different dress on, I know. I wanted to draw a completely different dress. But the story behind this one is that Princess Holly Blue, who has just married into the Avis royal family, finds out something about her father-in-law she'd rather not want to know. So she is originally a Mariposan princess, or a butterfly princess, and her father-in-law chops off the wings of her people and keeps them as trophies. So, something you would not want to roam around the castle and find, especially after you've just married into that family. But yeah, it's very much a Romeo and Juliet kind of story with Sparrow and Holly, so yeah. Ooh. So here we have Guidebook, day 15. When I think guidebook, I definitely think of Spyro 2. So this is inspired by Spyro 2's Guidebook. It also has this game art like aesthetic, because if it's inspired by Spyro 2, I was like, might as well go the whole mile and make it a game art aesthetic, like some of my other pieces. When moving this page in the light, you can see the metallic paints in this. So I think I did go a little bit overboard while I was doing this. However, I managed to salvage it. I managed to dial it back a bit. But I think my favourite thing about this piece isn't like the sparkles. Yes, I love the sparkles, don't get me wrong. But I think my favourite thing is like the tone shifts in the colours that I managed to achieve. Like you can see a little bit purple underneath the magenta. Just, oh, it looks so good. Also, I had no idea what to put in this little space, so I did a little Sims plumb bob. Day 16, grungy. And here we have my disaster child, Warwick Blade. He is my clumsy little knight. With this one, I experimented with my technique with Copic markers that I have for blood. This technique of doing blood with Copic marker actually comes from the artist Jordan, I'm going to mispronounce this, Pescati? I definitely mispronounced that. He is an incredibly talented horror artist. I'm not sure whether he still uses this blood technique, but if he does, I wouldn't be surprised. It's awesome. But what is more grungier than a roughed up knight? Also, I don't get to draw Warwick very often, so I love drawing him. Day 17. I'm not sure what the exact reason is for this being my favourite, but there's something about it that I just love. And also, around this time, I was finishing up little bits and pieces on my game, and this is actually referencing a game project that I was actually making at the time. I will be sharing more info about the game that I made in Unreal Engine and Blender, because it's been a huge part of my 2024, but I need to get all of the files together and I need to organise, okay? Everything is everywhere. But in this piece, we have a couple of little Easter eggs. So obviously, one being the potion bottle, and by the skull on the potion bottle, you can probably tell what that luminous green liquid is inside of it. And we also have like the work notes. This journal actually belongs to my character Camilla, and Camilla, at this point in the story, she is planning something in the background. But the main two little Easter eggs in this piece are actually the seal from the letter, as well as on this post-it note. The name on the post-it note is Robert. And Robert, at this point, is not her husband. Her husband's been dead for a long time. Who is Robert? Maybe he is one of the princess's dads. Who knows? Oh, scandalous. And that seal looks an awful lot like the Halley coat of arms. I wonder where I'm going with this. But that is definitely a story for another time, but I really enjoyed doing this one. And I think the lighting just, mwah, chef's kiss. Day 18, drive. Another journey, outdoorsy kind of word. And I was like, how could I make this different? And then I thought about it and I was like, wait, what if I make it cute? What if it's a wedding drive? Like, the couple are driving off into their new future together, which, so cute. I love that idea. And this is Crown Prince Micah and his new wife, Yumi. They were childhood sweethearts. And they had this huge wedding. Because I play a lot of my stories in The Sims as well as drawing them as well, I do actually have a Sim series, and this is one of the most recent events in said Sim series. I will say, as soon as I tried this colour of ink, I was like, that is the perfect colour for Micah's car. It's just super, super classy. The one thing I don't like about this artwork is the cans. They look a bit flat. It looks as if the car has rolled over them. Just a tad, just a little bit. I didn't do any line work in the background, so you can kind of see it's a bit of a softer effect with the trees. Day 19, ridge, another one of those words. Oh, if some cosmic blue moon on a miracle kind of look, and the Inktober team or just the person making the list in general sees this video, please, for the love of God, get feedback on your words. Having essentially the same bunch of words for at least a quarter of Inktober just ruined it. Like, it ruined the vibe, the feelings. It drove me insane. You can hear it in my voice. I'm still trying to recover. But this character, her name is Ruby. She is a singer-songwriter type of character, and this, I imagine, to be one of her album covers. Again, my love of like sunrises and sunsets. This is like a slightly different kind of tone of sunrise, sunset kind of thing. You've got like slightly different colours going on, but you can still see my sunrises and sunsets. Day 20, we have the Kingdom of Huxley. I'm gonna have to zoom out because some of these are more full screen than I give them credit for. So this piece was actually pretty quick compared to some of the other pieces. So I used the Jackman's granulating watercolours, as well as Roman Schmall Aquarius Green for the trees. And the line work of this was actually done with an ink rollable pen. With these pens, you can actually water down the ink because you have like a very short amount of time between the ink going down and it drying. And in that short amount of time, you can actually create washes and smudges. And I used to use this technique all the time in uni and I loved it. And since this piece was supposed to be more grungy, dark around the edges, because now it's an uncharted area of Marriner, I really thought playing fast and loose with this one would actually really help it. And it did. I really like this one. Then we have day 21, rhinoceros. Whose idea was this word? Please, I just want to talk. Are you okay? But as time went on and I thought about it, I was like, wait, what if I make it a toy? Then I could make it into a character illustration of one of the children playing with this toy. It's genius! I think for this one, I definitely tried out the sketch of this piece. Was so adorable. I kind of compare this piece with Day 11 Snacks. So the sketch was really cute. I really loved the sketch. And then I just had to go and ruin it with colour. Day 22, Camp. This piece actually continues on from Day 8's Hike. It's of the same two characters, Kai and Marriner, and they camp out in an old Ley Luna castle on the edge of Loka and Verona. Ley Luna is a kingdom that merged with Loka with the marriage of Jonathan and River, Kai's grandparents. And this abandoned castle that they camp in is actually one of River's old castles. And over the period of time that Kai and Marriner have run away, I kind of say it's about 2 weeks-ish, Kai and Marriner end up getting closer and falling in love. Also, I think this piece has a little bit of Taz's watercolours. So a little bit of backstory about the sparkly watercolours. These are actually homemade ones by a long-time supporter. Her name is Taz. She supports my Etsy shop. I think she needs to take out a second loan for my Etsy shop, to be honest, with the amount she supported it. She is amazing, and she's been hand making some watercolour paints, and I loved that idea so much. When she swatched them, I'm like, please, I will pay you money. Give them to me. So I used some of her handmade gold watercolour on this. It's the perfect accent. And she also has like this teal one, which is just, oh my god. And then you can see some of like the silver and gold down here. These are Taz's handmade watercolours and they are absolutely gorgeous. Look at the shine. They're beautiful. As soon as I got them, I was like, yep, they're going on my artwork. Day 23, Rust. I'd say this piece is one of my favourites. And with this one, it's actually quite different. First of all, you can see it's sparkly. This green gold colour of Taz's was made for this piece. Like, it was perfect for this piece. But in terms of the ink colours and combinations with this one feels a lot different to me, mainly because most of my pieces have been using the primary set of inks. However, this piece switches it up and uses only the secondary colours. It does have some of the cyan from the primary set, but that's only for the water really. The rest of it was done with the secondary colours. Day 24, Expedition. And you know what I'm going to say about the word pain. But this is supposed to be another view of Huxley using the same technique that I used on day 20. It's definitely not my best work. There were some days where I was like, I want to catch up. I want to actually live my life. You'll probably notice with a lot of pieces of my artwork, I tend to overdo it. Like, your Inktober pieces should not be this complicated. In the words of Jenna Marbles, I have a too much gene, but I'm also an Aries. And with that, you have artwork that is like 10 times more complicated than it needs to be. But this character, could this be the elusive Robert? Who knows? Day 25, Scarecrow. Another one of those words where you're like, what the hell were you thinking? Scarecrow. So, as I said in the YouTube short, I think of a scarecrow as a protector. And when I looked up the meaning of a scarecrow to be baseless fear, I instantly thought, that's Sparrow. That's Sparrow hands down. Because there is an event that happens in the timeline that makes him emperor. You might be able to guess by the colour scheme what it is. But when Sparrow becomes emperor, his father was such a tyrannical emperor that people are still living in fear. They don't know what to think of Sparrow now because even though he was raised to be the perfect prince, he is very much a scarred emperor now. He's traumatized from the events of his childhood and everything that has gone on recently within his story, that the people are genuinely nervous to approach Sparrow. But all their fears are technically baseless because Sparrow is nothing like his father. Day 26. Camera. So in this one we have 3 characters that appear. The main one we can see is Michael. I actually designed him in a previous video series known as Instagram Designs My OCs. It's been so long since I've done one of those episodes, I don't even know if they do well anymore. The story behind this is when Lucille gives birth to her firstborn son Felix, she needs a photographer to take pictures of the royal baby, and since she's Queen of Hallie, she wants to support Hallie's interests. And it just so happens that Michael, the photographer, is a Hallie native. So inside you can see Anthony and the little baby. So Anthony and Lucille are really, really close. They're almost like brother and sister, even though they're cousins. So of course Anthony would come and visit, and Lucille would definitely want pictures of her baby with Anthony. But Michael and Anthony actually get together in the end, and this is actually how they first properly meet. I'm okay with the proportions of everything in this piece. I just think it looks a bit janky. It's like when the perspective is a little bit off, it's very obvious. In terms of the camera, I actually referenced the camera that I'm filming this video with. My camera is a Panasonic Lumix G7. So, day 28, I think? Sorry, I'm losing track of the days. So this is day 28, Road. And I believe this is the last of like the journey type words, or at least I hope it is, because my sanity can't take anymore. The story for this one is that Lucille and Briar are headed to Hallie. This carriage has come all the way from Loka. It's gone all the way through Loka, through Verona, and it's heading towards the docks in Verona to head off to Hallie. And yes, sunset. Again, it's my favourite type of skyline to draw. The perspective of this carriage just looks really off. Perspective is not one of my strong suits, and I'm willing to admit that. Day 28. Wait. I said that this was 28, it's not, it's 27. Oh, I'm losing my mind. Okay, so day 28. We have Jumbo. This is my character Jalal, and I love him. He is quite the unfortunate character that is cursed with the powers of a dragon. I think after drawing Road's composition that I just really did not want to draw another landscape piece. I was done. I'd say Jalal relates to the prompt of Jumbo on a technicality because when he transforms, or when he's in his hybrid stage of his transformation, he gets taller, his wingspan is absolutely huge. So of course, Jalal would be Jumbo. Day 29, Navigate. I've got to admit, this is probably one of my favourite pieces, alongside Journal on day 17. It's the lighting and the layering, it just it looks so effective. It's just such a simple idea and a simple design as well. It doesn't need to be anything complicated. But as you can see, there's a telescope, a compass, and a map. So the telescope was actually inspired by a piece of UI art I did for my game. I actually made a 3D model of a telescope as well. Hopefully, future Zoe will put it in the edit. Yay! The compass was kind of a stripped down version of my pocket watch design, and the map is actually based off my sticker. So I sell this as a design in my Etsy shop. I sell it in soft matte as well as holographic shard, and you can see the colouring on this. I wanted to be exactly the same over here, so I actually referenced the sticker for like the colouring of this map because I knew I wanted that look. So day 30, violin. This is Cleo. Now Cleo is actually the older sister of the little baby on day 21's rhinoceros. Cleo is the second child of Pharaoh Matt and his wife Alexandra, but she is the Pharaoh's first daughter. I'm not sure whether you can see it, but there is actually a slight shine to this. So out of the handmade paints that I brought from Taz, it is this colour. So it's like the deeper blue, and it works so well over the blue violet markers. Just, it looks so good. I'm definitely going to have to try that combination again in the future, but oh wow. The experimentation, amazing. And in terms of the background, I was actually using my core watercolours. I don't usually get to use so many different brands of art supplies, so Inktober was kind of like a way to experiment with so many different brands of pens, pencils, paints, and inks. It's been a blast. With the sparkle in the background, I did do it pretty thin. It just makes the dress shine all the more. But yes, I imagine Cleo to be incredibly musically talented. With the Dune Royals, I don't really plan out too much. I actually let The Sims decide what drama it wants to include, and that usually means a lot. But it is really fun to have a bit of flexible storytelling here and there. Not everything is set in stone. Speaking of set in stone, day 31 and the last day of Inktober is Landmark. So this is actually a statue of River, River being the late queen of Loka. River married the crown prince of Loka and combined Leiluna, her previous kingdom, with Loka. And because of her untimely death, I think statues of River would definitely become landmarks around the kingdom. So that was the idea behind this. With this piece, it was out of it's been out of focus this whole time. Oopsie daisy. But I'm not sure whether you can see the amazingness that is the Jackman's watercolours. So these watercolours are from Jackman's. They are the granulating watercolours. And you can see the textures and stuff. Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's like the granulating watercolours that have like two different types of colour to them. They're really fun to work with because they're the kind of paints you have to really trust the process with because they dry different to how they look when they lay down. And this purple to like pink kind of tone, that is petal shadow. And that is one of the best and most effective colours I have ever seen in a watercolour. Just petal shadow is incredible. And it works so well as a shadow colour and on its own in general. But yes, that is my Inktober 2024. I really enjoyed it. A lot of mental pain because of the repeating words. Thanks a lot, Inktober team. During this sketchbook tour, I listed off some of my favourites. I'd be really interested to know what your top 3 pieces from this Inktober sketchbook are. But with that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in whatever I decide to do next. Bye guys!